What if I told you the legendary story of Horatius at the bridge is a lie? A brilliant piece of propaganda designed to cover up a devastating defeat that almost wiped Rome off the map, just as it was learning to stand on its own 2 feet. Welcome back to Immortal History. Today we're exploring an event that is usually remembered as a tale of incredible Roman heroism. But if we peel back the layers of myth, we uncover a real war, complete with massive armies, desperate sieges, and a few too many convenient lies written by the victors. This is the story of the Siege of Rome by the Etruscan king Lars Porsena around 508 BC. The Roman Republic was just 1 year old, having just expelled its final tyrannical king, Tarquin the Proud. It was a fragile time, and Rome was about to face an enemy that would push it to the absolute brink of annihilation. In 509 BC, Rome had fundamentally reinvented itself. The era of kings was over, replaced by a new system led by 2 consuls and the Senate. But the old king, Tarquin the Proud, wasn't ready to accept his forced retirement. Fleeing to the Etruscan city of Tarquinii, he gathered loyalists and allies from the city of Veii and marched back toward Rome, sparking the Battle of Silva Arsia. The battle was a bloody stalemate. Tarquin lost a son, while the Romans lost one of their first ever consuls, Brutus. Roman sources claim the god Silvanus himself declared a Roman victory by a single man, causing the Etruscans to flee in terror. This was pure propaganda, of course. While Tarquin was defeated politically, he was not broken on the battlefield. So he turned to a much more formidable figure, Lars Porsena, the Lucumo of Clusium. Porsena was the lord of the most influential Etruscan city, so powerful that some historians refer to him as the king of Etruria, who had likely forced other city-states to bow to his authority. Porsena agreed to help. Restoring an ally to the Roman throne wasn't just a favor, it was a strategic masterstroke. It would give him direct control over the vital Tiber River and its lucrative salt trade. He assembled a colossal army and descended upon Rome with shocking speed. He conquered the Janiculum Hill in just 2 days and set up his forces directly in front of the city's single vital artery, the Pons Sublicius, the only bridge spanning the Tiber. Panic gripped the city as Roman soldiers began to retreat. If that bridge fell into Etruscan hands, Rome would be trapped and doomed. This is the moment Roman legend paints its most enduring masterpiece. As the Etruscan army charged, a lone officer named Horatius Cocles stepped forward. In the version Romans would tell their children for centuries, Horatius ordered his men to destroy the bridge behind him, while he, along with 2 companions, held back the entire Etruscan onslaught. His companions eventually retreated, but Horatius remained, a single man against an army. As the bridge finally began to splinter and collapse, he is said to have leaped into the Tiber in full armor and miraculously swam to the safety of the Roman shore. Was it real? It certainly sounds like something from a Hollywood epic, but the story served its purpose. The city, inspired by this incredible act, began to believe it could resist. With the bridge gone, Porsena's direct assault was thwarted. He settled in for a long siege. The Romans scrambled to gather grain, salt, and livestock from the surrounding countryside, even sending for aid from as far as Cumae. But as the days turned into weeks, supplies dwindled, and whispers of surrender grew louder. Some citizens began to wonder, maybe bringing Tarquin back wouldn't be so bad after all. Just as morale was hitting rock bottom, a second hero emerged. Gaius Mucius, a young nobleman, volunteered for a daring mission. He crossed the Tiber, infiltrated the Etruscan camp, and attempted to assassinate Porsena himself. But in the chaos, he mistook the king's lavishly dressed treasurer for the king and killed the wrong man. Captured and brought before Porsena, Mucius was defiant. He declared, "I am one of 300 Roman youths who have sworn an oath to kill you." To prove his indifference to pain and death, he thrust his right hand into a nearby sacred fire, holding it in the flames without flinching as it burned to a stump. Porsena, stunned by this display, released him. Again, this is almost certainly propaganda, but the message was clear. Our resolve is absolute. The legend worked, and the defenders realized their adversary was not invincible. The final heroic act came from a young woman named Cloelia. After a truce was negotiated, Porsena demanded noble hostages, including Cloelia. One night, she led a group of her fellow female hostages in a daring escape, swimming across the Tiber under a hail of enemy arrows to return to Rome. However, the Roman Senate, determined to honor its pact, sent her back to Porsena's camp. The Etruscan king, so moved by her courage and Rome's honor, not only freed her but allowed her to take a group of the youngest male hostages with her. True or not, these three stories of Horatius, Mucius, and Cloelia became the bedrock of Rome's identity, transforming a desperate siege into a tale of unbreakable spirit. So how did it all end? According to Roman historians like Livy, Porsena was so filled with admiration for Roman courage that he simply packed up his army, lifted the siege, and even returned the lands he had conquered. It's a noble story, but other, less biased sources paint a very different picture. The Greek historian Dionysius, along with fragmented records, suggest Porsena forced a complete and humiliating surrender. He took their weapons, demanded money, and may have even stationed an Etruscan garrison inside Rome itself. The one thing he didn't do was reinstall Tarquin, likely realizing the deposed king was far too unpopular to be a stable ruler. Archaeological evidence supports this version of events. There is a sudden and dramatic disappearance of weapons from Roman tombs from the late 6th century BC, strongly suggesting a forced disarmament. In short, the heroic Roman version appears to be a beautiful coat of paint over the ugly truth of a surrender. The crucial outcome, however, remained. The Republic survived, and Tarquin did not return. After his campaign against Rome, Porsena's ambition was not yet satisfied. He sent his son Aruns to continue expanding southward toward the city of Aricia. But there, the Etruscan army was defeated, and Aruns was killed. After this failure, Lars Porsena himself fades from the historical record, perhaps due to the sting of this defeat, or perhaps simply due to old age. Tarquin would try one last time to reclaim his throne at the Battle of Lake Regillus around 496 BC, but it was his final futile attempt. Rome, for the time being, was safe. Years later, the Roman writer Varro described a tomb for Porsena so immense it defies belief. He wrote of a labyrinthine structure near Clusium, built on a base 90 meters per side, featuring 5 towering pyramids, a great bronze globe adorned with bells that chimed in the wind, and multiple tiers of more pyramids, reaching a total height of over 180 meters, taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza. No trace of this wonder has ever been found. Perhaps the account was a wild exaggeration, or perhaps it was a Roman way of posthumously portraying the Etruscans as a rich, mysterious, and decadent people, a people ripe for future conquest. So who was Lars Porsena? For Rome, he became the ultimate nightmare, the foreign invader whose threat forged the city's character. His siege created the legends of resistance, courage, and the powerful ability to turn a military defeat into a moral victory. For the Etruscans, he was likely a great king who honored his duty of hospitality to an exiled ally, and who paid a heavy price for it. Two opposing legacies, both ensuring his name would echo through history for over 2 millennia. Did he almost destroy Rome? Absolutely. His army came closer to success than Hannibal's would 2 centuries later. If the Pons Sublicius hadn't been cut, if Rome's legendary heroes hadn't inspired the people to endure, if Porsena had been more ruthless and less impressed, the Roman Republic would have been strangled in its cradle. Instead, Rome learned its most fundamental lesson. Sometimes, the story you tell is more powerful than the sword you wield. The next time you hear the tale of Horatius at the bridge, remember that on the other side stood a powerful Etruscan king who, for one brief moment, held the fate of the entire Western world in his hands. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. And tell me in the comments, which version of the story do you believe? The Roman tale of unbreakable heroes, or the historical evidence of a quiet, humiliating surrender? As always, I'll see you there.